You were pretty quick to criticize the people of Houston for wanting to build, you thought, McMansions, but you don't criticize your own university? You don't see the hypocrisy in that?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the most compelling moments in politics. Today we've got a real gem for you. Senator Kennedy starts off by questioning Professor Keenan, who's been very vocal about criticizing Houston residents for building large homes. But here's the kicker. Keenan's own university, Tulane, has been building some pretty massive projects themselves. Senator Kennedy, in his usual sharp style, asks Keenan if he sees the hypocrisy in criticizing others while his own backyard isn't so clean, and would you believe it? Keenan outright denies any hypocrisy. It's like he's completely blind to his own double standards. Unreal, right? If you're shaking your head right now, you're not alone. This is just the beginning, and it just keeps getting better. Kennedy brings up the fact that Keenan recently signed a letter demanding elite universities stop accepting money from fossil fuel companies. Sounds noble, doesn't it? But here's where it gets juicy. Tulane, Keenan's own university, received a whopping $25 million from oil families. Kennedy, with his typical wit, asks why Keenan hasn't asked Tulane to return that money.
You signed a letter demanding that elite institutions and universities stop accepting money from fossil fuel companies. Is that correct?
This is correct.
You consider Tulane an elite university?
I would like to think that we have a high standard of excellence in our education and our research.
Okay. Well, the Murphy family of Murphy Oil and the Deming family of Murphy Oil have recently given Tulane $25 million. You think, have you called on Tulane to give that money back?
Well, it's not, they didn't give that money to my unit or the department or school that I work in.
Have you called on Tulane to give that money back, or you think that's okay for them to keep it?
It's their prerogative, not mine.
Okay. Yet you just signed a letter saying that all elite universities should refuse fossil fuel money. Did you put a footnote in there and say, except my own?
Well, what I'd like to say, Senator, is that I believe it raises a conflict of interest for those that research climate change that are supported by the fossil fuel industry.
But then why don't you ask Tulane to give the $25 million back?
Well, I think in the context, if that money were to be used to support climate research, information, disinformation, or whatever it may be, then that may be an appropriate conflict of interest. But I think in the context of which
you don't see the hypocrisy here?
It is a hypocrisy in those that may read and interpret it as such.
Maybe it's like Washington. If there weren't double standards, there wouldn't be standards at all. Let me ask you this. You also participated in another article here criticizing Houston for building new buildings and McMansions. And you said, I'm going to read your quote. I don't want to misquote you, Professor. That means we have to change our consumer preferences. You could have a super efficient, energy efficient mega mansion in Houston or the suburbs, but it's still a mansion. You're still over-consuming space. Did you say that?
Yes, sir. That's based on work as a member of the IPCC. Our research suggested that reducing our footprint in terms of total spatial footprint would have significant impacts on the decarbonization of the built environment.
And so you're saying that people should live in smaller houses because larger houses contribute to CO2 emissions?
100%, Senator.
Okay. Well, recently, Tulane finished the Commons. It was 77,000 square feet, $55 million. Recently, Tulane finished the Gold Ring Woldenberg Business Complex, $35 million to complete, 92,000 square feet. Boy, that's a McMansion. Mustapher Hall, 23,000 square feet. Paul Hall, 36,000 square feet. Richardson Hall, 50,000 square feet. Housing redevelopment phase 1, 230,000 square feet at Tulane. Have you called upon Tulane to stop these buildings?
Sir, the habitable space within those units are roughly the size of the conference room back there and are indeed quite small.
But they contribute to
everything that we do, sir.
Does the Commons contribute more to climate change than a McMansion in Houston? You were pretty quick to criticize the people of Houston for wanting to build, you thought, McMansions, But you don't criticize your own university?
I don't find that to be equivocal comparison between space meant for students who must reside at a university.
You don't see
and
the
those that-
hypocrisy in that?
Wow, what a debate. Senator John Kennedy really laid bare the contradictions and hypocrisy, and it was something to see. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more of these epic takedowns, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.